I had one amazing experience, unforgettable, in about 1993. I was actually asleep in my bunk at the time, and we were hit by a refrigerated fruit carrier. We were pushed to one side. The vessel that hit us actually abandoned and left. They ended up being arrested in Gibraltar. The crew were incredibly... They were very fast in their reactions. It happened at 3 o'clock in the morning. The training of the staff is very important because they get all the updates on safety equipment through their training officers. My name is Maxwell Westwood, Max to everyone. I've worked on yachts for about 25 years, and before that fishing boats. I was a captain for about 10 years. And a first officer for about 10 years. I had one amazing experience, unforgettable, in about 1993, where I was involved in a collision on board a yacht. I was actually asleep in my bunk at the time, and we were hit by a refrigerated fruit carrier. We were 45 metres and they were something like 480 feet. Very exciting, something to remember. I'll never forget that one. The way we were hit, we were pushed to one side, and eventually we managed to get into harbour. The vessel that hit us actually abandoned and left, and they ended up being arrested in Gibraltar. We were hit off San Remo in Italy. So the whole incident was being listened to and recorded by Livorno radio, and they knew exactly which ship it was that had hit us. So they monitored it all, and the vessel was stopped outside Gibraltar. Training was very important because it just shows it was right at the start of the season, and we had been doing our abandoned ship training literally only less than 10 days before this actually happened. The crew were incredibly, they were very fast in their reactions. But it happened at 3 o'clock in the morning. There was only the captain and his wife out on deck in the bridge, and the rest of the crew and the guests on board were all asleep. And we had to get everybody out of bed and up onto deck and into life jackets. It was memorable. Constant training was done on all the vessels that I worked on. We did fire practices, we did abandoned ship practices. We would take the boat when we were at sea, we would do man overboard manoeuvres, use a great big sponge foam cushion over the side, and then go and rescue it and talk about it afterwards, what we'd done wrong or why we did it in a particular way. Yeah, it was constant training. It's changed so much since I was last at sea. I mean, I came ashore 18 years ago when I started working for OS Safety. We're not involved in the yachts training. Our job is to service and supply them with their equipment. It's become much more, in the last 18, 20 years, it's become much more regulated, the industry. You can't not do the training now. You have to do it. 20, 25 years ago, when I was in the yachting industry, everything was a little bit more the conscience of the crew. I worked with some very good captains, and I became a captain myself on a smaller boat. We did our due diligence and did our training. It's a long list. Life jackets, life rafts, flares, all the usual things that you would expect to carry. None of them are any less or more important. The life rafts and life jackets and how to use them. Information and feedback from the crew of the yachts. But otherwise, we are looking at the IMO guidelines, the marine guidance notices. The training of the staff is very important because they get all the updates on safety equipment through their training officers. For us in the sales department, it's feedback from the vessels we work with is important. They often will tell us when something's been upgraded. Not necessarily my decision making on board a yacht, but I do have my superstitions. I will never cross on the stairs. When I was working on fishing boats, one word we never used to use was rabbit. Rabbit was always thought of in the case of not being able to go to sea when you were on a fishing boat. You went poaching for rabbits. It was always to do with poverty. They were always referred to as bushcongers. I don't walk under stairs, I don't cross on stairs, I don't walk under ladders, but that's more or less it. But the staff here all know. They don't cross on the stairs. Yeah. Within a few days, a new member of staff knows, and they either stop at the top or the bottom and let me know. Yeah, that's me.